FUNCLE's Customs, where I find all kinds of cars in different places. I usually fix them and flip them, but sometimes I keep them. This is My Garage Revivals. Today I went to fetch our new project vehicle, a 1958 Chevy Impala. Hello everybody and welcome back to My Garage Revivals. So as you can see, it's quite early in the morning and the sun is still busy rising, as they would say. But yes, I thought, well, since I'm awake already this morning, we might as well get the day started. So yeah, there's a couple of things happening today. Not a lot at the moment. But yes, as you can see, we've got the 1958 Chevy Impala. Yes, this is the Impala from Nick's Speed Shop. So we've got this in the shop this morning. Went to pick it up yesterday. So yes, we are going to start digging into this thing a little bit. It's actually quite a sad story behind this car. It was actually a stolen vehicle, and they kind of started painting the car just to hide it from the owner, because obviously they were driving it around a bit, and they also neglected it quite a bit. As you can see, it's been standing outside and it's got a broken windscreen at the back, and it's got a lot of rust on it. So yes, we are going to see if we can get this thing looking a little bit better. There's not a lot of work. There's a little bit of engine work to do. It doesn't run at the moment, but we do still have a engine that I built that is ready to go into this. So that is basically part of my plans, is to try and get this thing running, and then I'm gonna see what other work we need to do to the suspension and such. And we're also gonna swap the wheels out, because these ones are very rusty and the tires are also quite bad, as you can see. So yes, this is our new project vehicle. But in other news, I think we should be able to actually see it once we just glance out of our front gate over here. So just across the road from us over there, you guys are familiar with Cyclone. So his Chevy El Camino was the one we fixed up a couple of episodes ago. So he's got that little wagon parked there now. So we need to go and pick it up. So there's an engine for that car and also a exhaust and a bunch of parts he wants to see if it can work on his car. So we're going to go ahead and pick that up in a bit. I just think I should give him a call because it's quite very early. So we are going to start by digging into this thing. Just start stripping it and see what is cooking. So let's get this thing lifted up a bit. Oh yes, I almost forgot another thing before we continue. You may have noticed in the last episode we had some arcade games in our lobby now, and also a jukebox. So obviously I spent a little bit of money and got some decorations for the lobby just to make it look a little bit better, and also we've got some arcade games now. So that's going to generate a little bit of income, but I still wanted to move the vending machines that I bought into the lobby as well. So this is a soda vending machine, so that people can buy themselves a soda from here as well. And then we're gonna try and squeeze in the vending machine for the food and snacks next to that. So I'm just using the moving tool. It's not really necessary, but we'll just have it a little bit safer to use when we are using this tool. Alright, and let's see if we can make these things fit perfectly over here. I think that doesn't look too bad. And we are still able to enter. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be in the way over there. So the electrician will come and connect this up for us. Also, still has to connect up the Defender game. So yeah, that is hopefully going to generate us a little bit of money if people start playing on those arcades and start buying stuff from the vending machines. Alright, but yes, I just moved the table a little bit, but that's okay. It's not really a problem. So these are things that are going to go onto Laco's truck once we get it back from paint. And I also took the rear license plate off because we need to get that installed once the truck comes back. So yeah, I think let's start by ripping these wheels and tires off and see if there's any suspension issues down here, because I haven't really investigated thoroughly what is going on underneath this car. So I think it's just a good idea to check it out. Alright, so everything looks actually quite solid under here. Looks like we've got good brakes and good hubs, good brake discs, even shock absorbers doesn't look too bad. There's a bit of a bad drive shaft and a transmission, but I did notice we do have got a transmission inside the car. Not going to be able to reach it out like that. Let me come around this side. So yeah, this is a 4-speed manual gearbox. So we are going to install this probably. It's still quite brand new. So we will try and get that one fitted to this car. And then obviously we're going to have to get some pedals because the car doesn't have any pedals. So that has been removed. Alright, but let's carry on. We're going to remove this wheel on this side as well. Alright, so there we go. That's another rusty old wheel. So we'll just put these on a stack for now. Right, so the rear doesn't look too bad. I didn't check those brakes properly on this side. I think, yeah, they don't look too bad. Alright, so let's check out the front part of the suspension, if there's any issues up front. Yeah, nothing really sticks out like a sore thumb at this point. Everything still seems to be quite intact. Alright, all the bolts are still snug. So there's not really any suspension work to be done really, other than the drive shaft and the transmission by the looks of it. So let's get these wheels swapped out with the spare ones we have. So we've got some spare wheels on our tire rack over there we can put onto this car. Alright, so there we go. So out with the old, and then let's start by putting this one on. Yeah, I think this is already gonna make the car look a little bit better. So let's grab this one for the front. So I think hopefully this will be a quick fix for us to get some more money back into the shop, because obviously we are still waiting for the money from the auction for our 1969 Dodge Charger, or rather the 68 that we facelifted to a 69. So that money is still basically on its way. And then yeah, let's just take the last wheel closer. I just want to inspect here as well. Once again, I don't see anything wrong on this side. Everything seems to be fairly decent. So the guy I bought this car off, his name is Chris, and he said that the car was actually running great the last time he was able to drive it. But yeah, obviously something went wrong, so we are going to have to investigate in the engine bay what is going on with this thing. So I think the best bet will be to rip this engine out just as it is, and then see if we can get the correct one installed. And I think it's yeah, once it's basically 8 o'clock, I think we can take a drive over to the shop quickly and see if we can get some pedals for this thing, because I'm actually curious to see if we can get this thing moving under its own power today, because that'll be very great. Alright, and then we've got all the cables loose. Did we get that bolt over there? Okay, so it's just the fuel line. So let's pop that over there. And then I see we also are gonna have to get some exhaust pipes for both sides. Alright, so there's that. So obviously the exhaust system was stolen on this car. Oh, there's a manifold on this side. Alright, so we're not going to dig into that engine too much. We also have got some parts in the trunk, but I don't think there's anything usable. That looks like a broken radiator. We've got a battery over here. I'm not sure what the condition is of that. We'll have to check it. Broken distributor, so there's nothing really usable in the trunk. But yes, that is basically what you get if you are picking up a vehicle that was previously stolen. Although it looks like this thing was kept quite neat by the previous owner. Alright, so now we can probably remove the starter from the gearbox first of all, because we're gonna have to reuse this on the new one that we have over here. So let's get that installed. Alright, and then I think we'll lift this thing up quite high so we can get to the drive shaft and also get the gearbox out of this thing. Right, so let's start with our drive shaft bolts. Alright, so these 6 bolts, and then this thing should come down. Alright, so let's put this over here one side. We're going to see if we can find a new one of these as well at the shop today. Alright, and then as for the transmission, we can just rip this out as well. Alright, so this is a automatic transmission. So we'll just put that down over here for now, I guess. Alright, so that is actually already looking very solid. I don't think there's a lot of work to do to this thing. So sometimes you are lucky with these project vehicles. And they obviously have got a little bit of a bad reputation now because it was a stolen and recovered vehicle. But that is not going to scare me because it's still got a clean title. Somewhat. Alright, so yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly make a phone call to Cyclone because it's already past 8. Gonna give him a call, and then I'm gonna head over to his house and pick up the car, and then we're gonna bring it back to the shop and we're gonna dig into that thing a little bit. And also we are going to see if we can get some parts to get our Impala up and running again. So yeah, that is basically the idea. So let me give Cyclone a call quickly. Alright, so we made a phone call to Cyclone and he said it's fine, we can come and pick up the car now. So apparently it's not running at the moment. So we are going to have to use our winch to get this thing up onto our ramp over here. And I just hope we're going to be able to get into position well enough to get this thing loaded. There should be enough space over here, even if we have to go onto the grass a little bit. Right, so let me try and navigate this quickly. Might have to push the car a little bit to the side, which isn't going to be a big problem either. Alright, I think let's just park it over here. Be sure to get our handbrake up. Alright, so let's get our ramps down. And then we're going to quickly have a look at everything we've got over here. So this is the new exhaust. There we've got the brand new engine that he wants to have put into this car. So it currently has got an inline 6 in as well. But it has seen better days, as you can see. So the job for this car is basically full restoration. We need to get rid of all the dents and the bangs and obviously do wheels and tires. So he did have these wheels that he sent over with the car, or he's sending this with the car, but I'm not sure if those are going to fit. So we are going to give it a try. Obviously we're going to have to do a 5-lug conversion for those. But I guess we will figure that out once we get to that. So let's see if we can push this thing a little bit to line up to our truck over there. Alright, let's get our handbrake loosened up here. And now let me go and grab the winch. Alright, just like this. Alright, there should be a place to hook this thing up at the front. I believe it's over here. Alright, and then we might have to give it a little bit of a shunt here and there. So let's see how this is going to work. Alright, so we are a little bit off. So let's just push it over that way a little bit more before we start winching the thing. Alright, let me just get in between these two ramps, obviously. Push it back a little bit. And we're going to push it over that way. Alright, let's go and obviously grab the winch again. Alright, so these are usually things I try to do off camera because it's a little bit tedious, but I figured for today's episode we don't really have too much going on, so might add a little bit of extra things that usually happens behind the scenes. So let's see if we can get this thing on now. It looks good so far. Alright, let's keep winching. Alright, just a little bit more. And there we go. Alright, that is perfect. So I think we can actually leave the winch connected. We're just going across the road, so yeah, we don't need to have this thing perfectly secure on this truck of ours. So let's get that lifted up again. Alright, so let's put this over here. Let me just sort out this engine again. There we go. Alright, so let's see if we can take it back to our shop just across the road and get it offloaded. And then, yeah, I quickly need to run to the shop for the drive shaft and a couple of parts for our Impala. Alright, so let's just take it nice and easy. Obviously, I won't be able to see what's happening with the engine at the back now, but we're going to take it very slow. Alright, and we are back at the shop, and there's the engine. So we'll just put that down on the table. Then we'll grab the exhaust here quickly. Alright, and let's just put this down on the floor over there for now. Now we're going to try and get this car off the ramp quickly. Alright, so I managed to get this thing off by hook and by crook. Was really not easy, but let's just call the job done, and there we go. So I'm first going to unpack all the stuff inside the car, but obviously we need to run to the shop quick, so that is going to be my first thing I do. So I'm going to use the ramp truck because we've got a little bit of more space to load the stuff we're going to go and buy. Alright, so let's jump in and get over to the shop quickly. It's luckily not too far. Alright, so let me quickly go into the shop and just see if I can pick up all the stuff we need for getting our Impala up and running today. So yeah, I will be back shortly. Alright, so here we are, and I've got some bottles of coolant as well, and oil, as well as some brake fluid. And we've got the pedals and the drive shaft. So we're going to head back to the shop now. Going to see if we can get these things installed, as well as the engine that I have built already for a future project, which is the project we are currently working on. I just hope those things are going to stay put at the back over there, because there's no way to tie it down. Alright, so we are back at the shop, and I've got a little bit of bad news, as you guys can see over here. So yeah, I was actually being a little bit negligent, and I went up the one-way street again. And just when I got to the corner, there was a car coming and he turned into me. So I'm completely at fault with this accident. So yeah, this is the aftermath of the damage. So luckily for me, I did take out insurance. So the guy's car that got damaged, luckily the insurance will fix it up for him. But yeah, fortunately or unfortunately, I only have a third-party cover insurance, so meaning that I'm gonna have to fix up my own truck again. But luckily the damage is only cosmetic. There's nothing mechanically wrong. So yeah, it still runs good. Everything is fine. The radiator is still fine. So yeah, that is just my luck, and it'll probably teach me not to go up the wrong side of the road again. But yes, nonetheless, we have got our pedals and our drive shaft for the Impala to get that car up and running again. So yeah, this was a very unplanned set of circumstances. But I guess things happen, and everything happens for a reason. So yeah, that is what happened, I guess. Alright, so let's just focus on the job at hand. So we are going to have to lift the car up again, get the transmission and all that installed, and then we're gonna push it forward, and we're gonna see if we can get this thing fired up and hopefully running with the engine that we're gonna put in. Alright, so let's get this thing lifted up nice and high. We'll grab our transmission, get that slided into place. Alright, that's bolted down over there and over there. Now we're going to grab the drive shaft over here. Okay, let me just see. There we go. That's it in position. All right, bolt it down. I've bolted down over there as well. All right, perfect. Now we can lower this thing back down. And then I will grab the engine from the little crate over there. All right, so here's the engine. So let's drop the engine in. Now, sadly, I didn't get the exhausts for this car just yet. So we are going to fire it up without an exhaust system installed today. So just to move it about. So it's going to be a little bit loud. But yeah, I just need to get this thing moving under its own power so that it's not going to be a problem, you know, being in the way of anything and we're not going to be able to move it. So that is basically the idea over here. Let's just be sure to tighten down the starter wire as well. Alright, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on our fuel line. I'm going to top up the fluids and also install our pedals on the interior. And then basically when the car is ready to be fired up, I'm going to bring you guys back up to speed. Just so that we get everything done. And hopefully, yeah, this car is going to be a runner now. Alright, so I'm just about done with all the fluids. So this is the second bottle of coolant, just to top up the radiator nicely. So once this has been filled completely, we are going to see if this thing can fire up. So obviously we don't have an exhaust, so it's going to be very loud. But I just needed to move under its own power. Alright, and there we go. That is nice and full. And let's put our caps back on. Alright, and there's the one for the oil. And let's just double check the oil quickly. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright, so without closing the hood, I'm going to see if this thing wants to fire up. So hopefully everything checks out. And there we go. So yeah, obviously it's going to be very loud. Alright, let's get our hood closed up. So I think we're just going to park it over there. Alright, let's not run into anything. We can actually just park it next to the trailer over here for now. Alright, so the handbrake on this car is a little bit weird to get to. Alright, but yes, now that this thing is up and running, we can hopefully start working on the body. Because obviously this thing has been damaged quite badly. It doesn't look like it, but yeah, I guess if you would clean it up, you would see the damage much better. But yes, we are going to be giving this thing over to Richard's Auto Body so that they can sort it out. So I'm just basically waiting for the mufflers or the exhaust system to come for this car, and then gonna get that fitted, and then we'll see what else we have to do to this thing to make it basically as good as new. So yeah, we'll also clean it up a bit. But yes, I think for now we're gonna start working on Cyclone's little wagon over here. So yeah, we also have to fix up our truck again, obviously. Right, so I'm gonna start looking at stuff that's in the car. So this looks like a off-road tire on a 14-inch rim. And then we've got a transmission over here, which is a 5-speed gearbox. So I take it you would want to have this installed. Alright, some more wheels on the inside. So we've got a set of 4 by the looks of it. I'm just not sure how these wheels are going to fit this little car. They look a little bit too big. So I might have to have a little bit of a chat to Cyclone if they do not fit the car, but I guess we will see. Alright, so yes, we do have a full set of wheels. And then we've got another loose rim over here, which is a 16-inch. Okay, so we'll just put it down over there. I'm not too sure. Maybe that is the wheels we are going to be having a look at to get on this car. But as you guys can see, this thing is pretty rough. We've got a lot of rust. We've got rusty floor pans we need to replace. Yeah, both of them seem to be shot, as well as the trunk floor. Yeah, that is also gone. The gas tank is gone. I'm missing some trim pieces by the looks of it. I'm not too sure if there's any parts that go at the back here, but we'll figure that out. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can get this thing pushed onto the lift over there. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle maybe, but we are going to try our best here. Alright, so we've got the car in position. So now we can get these lift arms under it. Because I do want to start inspecting the suspension as well. So I think there's probably going to be lots of things wrong at the bottom. So this car was apparently in a barn for quite a while. So as you can tell, there's been definitely some time and age going around here with all the rust we've got. So I think the best thing to do is to start stripping off and seeing what parts are still going to be usable. We don't have hubcaps on the wheels. So let's get this rear suspension taken off. We're going to start with the wheels. There's a hubcap over here, but it's very rusty. Alright, let's take off this wheel as well. Alright, and then I think if we loosened all of these things, basically attached to the axle. Also, let's not forget our drive shaft bolts. We'll take these out as well. That should let it come out once we get those detached as well. Alright, and we've got a bolt over here somewhere. But that isn't attached to the axle, is it? Yes, it is. Okay, so we'll take it off there and there as well. And then over here. And there it goes. So there's our rear axle. Which the axle itself isn't too bad. Got some decent hubs on it, at least. So we'll investigate this a little bit better. But let's move over to the front suspension now. Alright, so you can tell the cross member is quite rusty. So we are going to have to take that out as well. So let's start by doing basically all of the cross member bolts over here. I think it's that one, and there's another one up here. And then we should be able to do the brake lines. Are we going to be able to figure out where the brake lines are at this point? I think there's one. And there's one. Alright, so here comes our cross member. Whoops, okay, there we go. Alright, so the cross member itself is bad, but it looks like all the parts attached to it is fairly decent. There might be some bad hub carriers on here. Yeah, so there's not a lot of parts usable, but we'll see what we can salvage. And I think I might actually have some parts in the barn that we bought off Richard as well. So yeah, we're just going to leave that with the wheels on. So now obviously we can see there's a lot of parts we can unbolt first of all. So let's start by taking off this drive shaft once again. We've got a bad drive shaft. Alright, and we're going to have a lot of cleanup work again. But we'll get those things loaded in the trailer and we'll go and drop it off at Steve's pawn shop again. Alright, so let's get our transmission removed. What is this over here? That's our fuel line, okay. Alright, so let's go down. Just like this, and then we will come over here, we'll unbolt the transmission. See if we can get the transmission out first of all. And there's a bolt on the starter. Right, so that should be able to just come out. There we go. Alright, so this transmission is also bad. It is a automatic, so I'm guessing this car was automatic. Let's just see. That is interesting. So it's got manual pedals in, but it's got a automatic transmission. So I saw that in the Dodge Charger as well. That's probably like a common thing people would do, by the looks of it. Right, is that our fuel line coming off? Why is it stuck? Come on, there we go. Alright, so this is a good fuel line. We can reuse that. Alright, and then let's continue taking this engine out. So we need to unbolt the alternator here, and I think, yep, there it is. One crusty old inline 6 engine. We do have a inline 6 engine as well kicking around that came out of the Dodge Charger. But in this case, we've got a brand new engine over there on the table, which we are going to be installing in this car. But first, I think we need to get everything stripped off, cut off on the outside of the car. Obviously, at the bottom of the car as well, the suspension. Because that is, there's a lot of rust under here. The floor pans are shot. I mean, the fuel tank is shot. All of these suspension parts looks bad. We've got a decent looking shock absorber here. We can probably have a look at that quick. Yeah, it's not the greatest. That's a broken rear spring. We've got a semi-good spring over there. Alright, and let's get this arm unbolted and that one. And then this one can also drop down. And we can unbolt this one. And we'll get that arm and this arm removed. So yeah, that tells me we are going to basically redo the whole rear suspension by the looks of it. I haven't figured out where the gas tank actually mounts to. It's over there. Alright, let's bring this gas tank down. Alright, so the gas tank also looks quite bad. And now I think it's safe for us to start cutting parts off this bottom half of the car, or at least on the floor pan sides. The trunk floor as well. So I haven't done these cars ever in the past, so this is also like a learning experience. So let's just try and figure out what is mounted to what over here. Alright, so it looks like these need to come off. But then again, yeah, I'm not too certain. Let's just see. Right, so this is a trunk floor for this little wagon, so that is quite bad. Alright, so this one over here, which is the inner wheel well by the looks of it, we'll cut it off as well. There we go, that's the rear left one. Also quite trashy. And then we'll investigate on this side. It's basically the same. And there's the wheel well for this side as well. Also quite bad. Right, so next up we are going to have a look at the floor pans over here. So I believe this should actually be separate from the other ones. Or actually the middle back one over here. I'm not too sure if this tunnel is actually also welded to the floor or how far that goes up, but it might actually be. Right, so let's cut it off here. Is that gonna make it fall off? Just not yet. Okay, so there must be some more places to cut. Obviously that one there, that's an obvious place for a weld. Alright, wait a minute. There we go. Right, so this comes with the front seat. Alright, so this is a rusty old floor. We're going to be replacing that as well. And then I think it's just a repeat on this side as well, what we need to do over here. We could actually weld that back into place by the looks of it. Alright, let's cut this off as well. Over there, and this one. And there we go, we've got our right side floor. And this is also quite rusty. Alright, so I think that's basically all of the rusty parts on the suspension and the lower part of the car removed. So we are going to have to order basically everything new for the floor and the wheel wells, as well as the trunk floor and these two floors. got a couple of suspension parts we could use, so I'm going to go ahead and strip that off camera. But yes, I think we've done quite a bit now, so let's lower this thing down again. Alright, so as for the bodywork on this thing, I think there might actually be some parts we can bend a little bit straight with the help of a hammer. Right, so there's definitely some dents coming out just by hammering it. So I'm just going through all the panels, seeing if there's anything we can actually knock with the hammer. Just to give us that good idea of how far things are going to be coming back into shape. Alright, and we are kicking some stuff around, but that's fine as well. So I wonder if this hose is going to reach, because I want to see if we can wash this roof off a bit before we start applying any Bondo to it. So let's clean up this part over here. At least for now, we're gonna clean up this section. We can also pop out this broken windscreen or trunk window. I'm not sure what they call it actually. We've got a tiny bit of rust on this quarter. Right, I think that should be good enough for the part I need to work on now. Right, let's hang that back over there. And I just wanted to check on this quarter panel as well if there's any parts we can knock back into place. It doesn't look like it. Alright, so let me quickly see where my Bondo is. Might have to order more Bondo because we need to fix up our shop truck over here. Ah, of course. I put the Bondo over here on this little shoe shelf. Or that is what they call it. Alright, so let's see if we are going to be able to get this thing back into shape now. And there was also a little bit of deformation on the side over here. As well as our trunk. Yeah, let's just quickly pop out this window because I think that is also going to throw us off a bit when applying the Bondo. Alright, so there's the old broken windscreen. Let's continue with some Bondo on this thing. Alright, and looks like the damage on this trunk actually went a little bit further than I thought. But we should be able to get this thing sorted out. It's just a matter of going through everything. On the quarter panel, there's also a little bit of damage over here. Nothing too serious, actually. And we've got some dents over here on the inner part. Not too sure if this is actually... No, it's just part of the roof. So let's see how far the dents are going on this roof. Oh, this is actually quite odd. The damage actually went further than to where the actual damage was. And we also got a little bit of work to do to this quarter panel over here, but that's basically sorted now. Right, as for the trunk, it seems to be good. Let's just check our roof further on this side. Might actually be on this, what's it, the A, B, C pillar. So this is the C pillar. Might have some dents still over there. Alright. I think we've got this body pretty much straight now, so I don't think there's anything else we need to Bondo out. Yeah, I think that is basically job done. Alright, so let's grab the hose over here again. So I do want to clean this thing up a little bit better so that we can start working on it in the next episode and putting some new parts back on. because obviously I'm going to be ordering up quite a bit of things we need to replace. And then, yeah, hopefully by the time we get this thing up and running, we just need to send it off to paint, because there's not going to be a lot of rust on this body. But I think the little bit of rust that I do find, I am going to take care of that myself. It's usually only if cars have got a lot of rust like our Charger had, that I would send it in for the rust repair. So like our Dodge Charger had quite a bit of rust, but they managed to sort it out quite fast, because they obviously have the resources to do that. We have to get sandbags and all that, drive up and down. And now that we've got a damaged truck, that is also going to be a little bit of an issue driving around, because obviously I don't like driving around with a banged up car. So we are going to have to try and fix that up as well as soon as possible. So that is also something that we're going to do in the near future, or in an episode of the near future. Alright, and then I think, let me just put this hose down because I want to get this trunk closed up now. I think we got all the dirt off of that. Right, and over here. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad actually. It's just strange that they had this two-tone color going on the car, with the roof in this gray color, almost a green gray. And then the car being this almost a, looks like a ruby red or a gypsy red. I'm not too sure. Yeah, a little bit more ruby, I believe. But yeah, that is it's quite a nice color. I wonder if Cyclone would want to have the same color on the car. I'll actually just have to check with him on a couple of things before we do too much work to this. But I think it's basically pretty clean. Oh, is that that's the office phone ringing? Alright, I'm coming. Alright, so I just got a very shocking phone call from Hugo. So he told me that he was on his way back and he stopped at a gas station to fill up the truck. And he also went into the shop to buy some snacks for the road. And when he came back, the truck was gone. So, yeah, it looks like our shop truck has been stolen. So he has reported it to the local authorities over there. And he said that they are going to do their best to try and track it down, obviously, and see if we are able to recover the truck. But yes, this has turned out to be quite a bit of a bad luck day for me now, because first of all, we end up damaging our Ram truck, but luckily it still runs, so I'm going to give it that. But also our shop truck is stolen now, and yeah, I don't really know what we're going to do now in terms of that. We're going to have to probably wait and see if the police are going to be able to find something, or we're going to have to see if we can get ourselves another shop truck, which isn't entirely something I was budgeting for, because I was actually trying to save up a little bit of money and make more money so that we can buy ourselves a proper house to live in. But yes, I guess that is just some things that happen, and I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. So yeah, I'm going to have to take Hugo's car, fill it up with gas, and go and pick him up and drop him off at home. So yeah, but I think also that is basically a wrap for this episode. So thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate every view, every like. And also, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. I will appreciate it very much. But yes, until the next time, cheerio.